If you're in your 20s and you want to land a high-paying remote job, this video is for you. I'm 37 years old, and less than 2 years ago, I was unemployed for 16 months and at my breaking point because I was desperate just to be able to land any decent job. I had a bachelor's degree and even an MBA, but I couldn't even land interviews. Today, I'm working completely remote with unlimited PTO and flexible hours. I make more money than I ever have, and I upgraded my car. I travel constantly, and for the first time in years, I actually love my job. So if you're in your 20s, you have something I wish I had more of now: time. You don't have to waste over a decade like I did in the wrong job and going about your job search in the wrong way. There are so many things I would have done differently knowing what I know now. So here it is. This is my 5-stage process you can follow to land a high-paying remote job and build the kind of life you've been dreaming of. Stage 1 is called stagnation, and I'd imagine that it's likely where you are right now. The reason you feel like you've been thrown in that deep end without any preparation or guidance is because that's exactly what's happened. You leave school, get your first job, and that's it. You're left out to your own devices. So you play it safe by sticking it out in the same job, taking 0 chances. Maybe you tell yourself you'll look for something better next year or when the timing is right, but that day never comes. If you stay in this stage too long, you risk being completely stuck. You're not learning anything new on your job. You're not growing. You're just existing, going through the motions day after day. Right now, 64% of Americans say that they don't even have the money to pay for a $400 emergency, and you're probably one of them. These same people who say this today are the same people who will say it 10 years from now. I worked in the supply chain industry for nearly 8 years. I dreaded going to work every day. I wasn't learning anything new, at least nothing I cared about, and I honestly was depressed. My boss would micromanage me, and my severe anxiety was a daily occurrence. 8 years of my life thinking this was just how it was supposed to be, wasting hours to commute to work every day, missing family events, and feeling exhausted all the time. The reality hit me hard one day. I realized if I didn't create change in my life, then it wouldn't come. My advice for you is don't wait for a miracle. It won't come. You need to accept that you're currently on a path to nowhere, and the only way your life will change is if you make it change. The first action you need to take is the most important. Stop lying to yourself about your situation. Look at your bank account. Look at your schedule. Look at your stress levels. Be brutally honest about where you are right now. Once I realized I was in stage 1 and my life was in stagnation, I didn't wait. I quit my job to force a change to happen. The next stage is called identify. Now, believe it or not, more than 50% of people never even get to this stage, which means this is when you might start seeing a difference between you and your friends. At this stage, you're doing everything you can to figure out a way to break out of stagnation, but it's pretty hard because you've got a couple of things that are holding you back. First, your friends. They won't always like your new attitude because it forces them to either change themselves or be left behind. Both of these things are very painful. Second, you don't think you're worthy of a better job because you don't have the qualifications, no college degree, no previous experience in anything professional. I get it. I didn't have any qualifications either. I was just a girl who quit her job and was unemployed for 16 months, leaving a huge gap on her resume. This stage, identify, is all about choosing the right career to get you on the path to a high-paying remote job. It's about turning from being a piece of driftwood floating without direction to knowing exactly where you're going. Here are the key things you need to look for when choosing a career. Is it a good fit for your personality? You need to be honest about your strengths and what you actually enjoy doing. Is it in demand by employers? There's no point learning skills for a dying industry. Does it actually have entry-level positions available? Many fields claim to be entry-level friendly, but really aren't. There's no entry point. Can you land the job without a degree or years of experience? This is crucial if you want to make the transition quickly. I personally chose tech sales because of my goal to have a performance-based pay structure that would reward me for my results, not just showing up. And it matched all of those criteria perfectly. If you need help identifying the right path for you, I recommend using Course Career's free AI career counselor. You can actually talk to it, and it'll help you choose a career that matches everything you're looking for. Plus, it only recommends jobs that have real entry-level positions available that you can land without a degree or previous experience. I'll include a link to the Course Career's AI counselor down below. That's a great first stop to take to identify your path in life. The key is being honest about what you want and taking action on what you discover. Don't just stop at identifying your path because there's a whole lot we need to do in the next stage. Now comes the learn stage. This is where you start to gain some real momentum, but what got you here won't be enough to carry to the next stage unless you follow along closely. You need to fully commit to learning everything about the career you've chosen. Companies won't give you a chance if you won't even invest in yourself. You need to learn before you earn. There are 3 ways to go about learning your new career, and I personally chose the third one for a very specific reason. The first option is self-taught. This is where you try to learn everything on your own using free resources online. The problem is that it takes the longest, is the most difficult, and you might not even be learning the right things that employers actually want. College is the second option. This is what most people think they need to do to get out of a dead-end job, but honestly, it's the worst option in my opinion. It's by far the most expensive, takes the longest, and here's the kicker. The majority of what you learn isn't even what employers want. You end up spending 4 years and going into massive debt just to graduate, still not know how to do the actual job. Trust me on this, I have my MBA, but still couldn't even land interviews. I personally chose the third option, targeted online courses. I think this is the best option right now if you want to learn the skills needed to land a new job as fast as possible with the least money possible. These courses are constantly updated, so they always teach what employers actually want right now. It's much easier to follow along compared to trying to figure it out all on your own. And they're designed specifically to get you job ready, not just educated. I personally chose the Course Careers Tech Sales course. It taught me everything I needed to know about the industry and to be able to land my first job. This wasn't theoretical knowledge. It was practical, actionable skills I could use immediately. You could take the same Course Careers course I did or find your own, but the key is choosing something practical that provides you the actual skills employers list on their job postings, not just theoretical education. The next stage is earn. This is where the real fun starts, and you're able to break free of your dead-end job and really build up momentum in your life to live the way you want to. But here's where most people completely mess this up and end up wasting all the time they spent learning. The first step is understanding how to turn what you've learned into a real job that pays you. Most people get this stage completely wrong because they're not willing to be flexible and strategic about their approach. The key to landing your first job and starting to earn is understanding that you're playing a long-term game. You have to realize that you're not going to be rich at this point, but you will break out of the dead-end cycle you're currently stuck in. Here's what I did and what you need to be willing to do. Be willing to take entry-level pay. The goal is to turn the skills you just learned into money. It might not be a lot of money at this point, but it's something, and it's a pathway for you to gain experience and move up. You need to be flexible and be willing to do what others won't, even if it means working harder or working in an industry that others might consider boring. If you're not even willing to start at the bottom and take an internship, then you won't be able to break free of your dead-end job. That's just a harsh reality. Most importantly, be willing to put yourself out there. I did exactly what Course Careers taught me. I found the hiring manager for the job, got their contact information, and then sent emails and messages to them trying to sell myself for the position. That kind of putting yourself out there and being willing to risk rejection is what you need to be willing to do to land that first job. This stuff works. I landed my first sales job in less than 2 weeks after I finished learning through my online course. Remember, this stage isn't about finding the perfect job. It's about getting your foot in the door of an industry with growth potential. Once you're in, you can start climbing the ladder much faster than you ever could from the outside. Welcome to the final stage, expand. This is where you've landed a job that you actually like, that has a real future, and you're now on a path to genuine freedom. At this stage, what you care about is growth. You want to expand what you have to make more money, gain more expertise, and build the successful life you've always wanted. But expanding isn't just about showing up to your job and hoping you'll get promoted. That's what everyone else does, and that's why everyone else stays stuck. It's about being intentional and strategic to make sure you're growing. The most successful people in the world, from Warren Buffett to Mark Cuban, have never left their success up to luck or chance. Here's what I focused on once I got my foot in the door. I shifted from just showing up and getting my work done to actively seeking more responsibilities. I volunteered for projects others didn't want. I went out of my way to learn new skills that would make me more valuable. Most importantly, I made sure others knew I wanted to grow. I had conversations with my managers about career goals. I asked about feedback and actually implemented it. The results speak for themselves. I went from working that first business development representative position to getting promoted to a principal BDR role in just 7 months with a pay increase, and promoted again 7 months later to an associate account executive, also with a pay increase. But the real success isn't just the money. I now work from home with flexibility. My life feels free. And I genuinely enjoy waking up every day to get on my computer and help companies improve their business. My life is finally in the place I've always wanted it to be, and I honestly feel successful. So are you ready to follow this path to breaking free of your dead-end cycle and landing a high-paying remote job? The journey won't be easy. There will be moments where you doubt yourself, when your friends try to pull you back, when you wonder if you're making the right choice. But if you follow these 5 stages, you'll unlock the life you've always dreamed of. Make sure you subscribe if you want to transform your career. I'll see you over there.